Hi everybody, in this video we talk about the top Pictos, you can say also Luminas, you can find in Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Now of course it's really build dependent, but this one definitely stand out from the rest. Alright, the first one is at Death's Door, deal 50% more damage if health is below 10%. So this is a huge bump in damage, and there are many builds that are built around 1 HP. Especially if you're employing shield, that this can be really a great boost of damage straight out of the bed by just using it. Also many ways to with support the character with shield, so it can be low and enjoy again more than actually what you see here, but this is really a nice buff once you actually in 1%, of course lower than 10%. This is another great one that increases damage by 50%. This is great for I mean, I'm using Verso build with 3 aim damage and it absolutely melts. So basically every build that goes with free aim, this is a must-have. Also, if used as a Pictos, is very good, high speed and critical rate. So overall, very good Pictos. Next one is a no-brainer, Clair's Life. You get it as a drop from defeating Clair in a flying maneuver. On turn start, if no damage taken since the last turn, recover 100% health. Well, there's nothing not to like it, unless of course you're using something that you cannot heal, so it's not actually be good for that particular build, but otherwise a must have. Another top one is Confident. Many use it, basically take 50% less damage but can be healed. There's so many ways to increase basically damage reduction, but at the cost of not being healed. But again, because you're gonna have some of these Pictos that help you get less damage, especially with different buffs, you're gonna find yourself that throughout the fight, in many fights, you won't actually need to use healing. And 50% is a lot. So basically, less damage, less need for healing, if at all. Yeah, but keep in mind that if you're using some other Pictos that heals you, it won't actually be useful here. The next one is in Flying Manor near Evac boss, and this is the Painter Pictos. Of course, everything can be converted to Lumina, just showing you as a Pictos, so you can see also the stats in case you want to use it as a Pictos. Convert all physical damage to void damage. This is great if you're using something that has, for example, physical damage or other one that most enemies have resistance to. This one just bypass all that. This can significantly increase your damage output, where enemies can have high resistances to an element that your either skill or weapon has. So the fact that you can just use it and bypass resistances by just using this as a Lumina or as a Pictos is a great advantage. Basically, you don't need to switch to another weapon or use a certain skill for a certain one. This is just you slot it in and there you go. Alright, next one is Solidifying. This saves me so many times when I actually was playing on expert difficulty. When I got hit, that really reduces my health considerably to very low health. This +2 shield, just a lifesaver. So the moment your HP fall below 50%, you're gonna get this 2 shield. This is very good one defensive wise. Now this is the one I was talking about, the one basically your max health is reduced to 1. One of the synergies that I showed you earlier with another Pictos, but there's also, for example, weapons like the Bloodham, for example, for Gustav and Verso, that as a passive, Perfection is now based on current health, gain 1 rank every 20% missing health. So many use it once they discover all the other benefits that you get from actually being low on health. So this is another one that you should pay attention to. Another one is Auto Death. By itself alone is not really worth it unless you of course want the critical rate to be 99 if you use the Pictos, but it synergizes so well with so many other things related to, well, when your character dies. Basically it allows you at the beginning of the fight to just buff your characters, and there are so many other synergies like giving shields and apply burn on enemy and dealing damage to enemies. So many things that can happen, and then everything just bubbles up, especially in the next turn if you want to continue. This is just a must-have, but keep in mind it needs different synergies to be activated in order to be able to make the most out of it. Alright, next one is Breaking Death. Fully charge enemies break bar on depth. Of course, this synergizes with the one that I showed you just earlier. This is amazing because again, once you break enemies bar, you kind of stun the enemies, and this also have other synergies to increase damage if enemies are stunned and more. So of course you don't want your characters to die, but there is some really good synergies that happen upon death, especially if you do it deliberately with the previous Pictos that we talked about. This is probably like the top first Pictos to have cheater. Always play twice in a row. Like nothing beats that in a turn-based game that you have another turn. Yeah, it is expensive as a Lumina, but again, once you apply this to all your characters, you get double the turns basically, and there's so many things you can do with it when you have a chance to play another turn. You can buff yourself up, you can change stands, you can revive, you can give yourself a P to act on the second turn, so many things. This is just outright just something, some say broken, some say just, the best Pictos in the game. Next one is Confident Fighter. Basically 30% outright increased damage, but can be healed. Some people don't care about that, definitely understand you, and just getting that extra damage. If you already have a build with no healing, just slot it in, extra damage right there. This one also is amazing. You get 3 turns at the beginning of the fight where you get inverted. Basically, if you heal, you're gonna get damage instead, but in return you're gonna get 50% increased damage while being in that state. Many will say, of course, that for 3 turns is a lot in this game, is enough to actually clear everything. So yeah, especially if you get that extra damage, right? Worth it. Now this is a no-brainer. This is not even like something you're gonna rank. This is just a must in. You must slot it in because you're gonna deal more than 9,999 damage. So this is just, well, this is just a must-have. Unless of course you want to limit yourself, so that's fine. This also has another advantage for those who don't want to deal lots of damage and still show their skill and they're not actually using a lot of damage. Also a possibility. So it's not like a must-have because you're gonna get it anyway. It doesn't matter what you do. But yeah, if you want to deal more damage, this is it. This is also a must-use because again, the chances you're gonna deal even through the long run while using it more damage is of course higher. So basically it's worth actually using it, especially when you see big numbers once he actually activated and uses the 200%. I see no reason why not using it. A fantastic one to actually boost your damage overall. Next one is Second Chance. You're gonna get it if you want it or not. Revive it 100% health once per battle. Superb. Why not use it? This is absolutely insane one that gives you basically just another life. There is an exception to that, but a certain fight, but I'm not gonna mention it here, but overall a must-have one. Shielding Death is probably one of the most powerful ones that can really get you out of trouble. On that, allies gain 3 shield points. This is a lifesaver, especially once one die and the others stay alive but still about to get wiped. This will basically save you from their entire team just wiping out. And of course this allows you to later revive a teammate, a fallen teammate. Very, very powerful defensive Pictos. The sniper is amazing. Again, there are many builds that people use with free aim shot. I use it for Verso, for example. You can see each turn deals 200% increased damage and can break. So if you are going with any build, this is just good to have in general. If you're just using a free aim shot anyway for something, for a debuff or something, and just having that extra damage is definitely worth it. But it really excels when you're actually using build that were designed to amplify the damage of free aim shots. Yeah, so definitely these the ones that really stood out for me based on my experience and gameplay. But I want to hear your thoughts. Which other Pictos you see as the top ones that weren't mentioned here? Other than that, enjoy this amazing game. See you around. Cheers.